Hi, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good day to all my dear students. Welcome back to Teacher Huda channel. As for today's lesson, we are going to continue further discussing on the same topic in Unit 3, Wild Weather, Part 4. Okay, as for today's lesson, we are going to discuss a really interesting story about something that happened, okay, in a real life situation. So without further ado, let's start our lesson today. Okay, now we look at the content standards. Okay, 3.1. Understand a variety of texts by using a range of appropriate reading strategies to construct meaning. Okay, for the learning standards, 3.1.2, understand specific details and information in simple, longer text. Okay, now look at the lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, students can identify the correct answer based on the text. Okay, for the lesson materials, we are going to use Pulse 2 Students Book, page 31. I hope every one of you is prepared with this textbook so that you can read while listening to the lesson. Okay, our lesson today is mainly about a story. It is a story about a girl named Sophie Frost. Okay, if you look at the slide, the title of the story is Saved by an MP3 Player. I know that some of you are not familiar with the MP3 player. So I provide a picture for you. This is how an MP3 player looks like. During that time, the MP3 player is considered like what you have today as iPhone 16, right? Okay, now let's read together about this story. Sophie Frost, a schoolgirl from England, felt very lucky when her grandmother gave her an MP3 player as a present. Okay, she didn't know just how lucky she was, however. Okay, so why that she was so lucky? So let's read the next story about her. Okay, when unexpected accident happened a few days later, the MP3 player probably saved her life. Okay, 14-year-old Sophie was going for a walk with her boyfriend Mason Billington when it started raining. So just consider that the picture that you can see is Sophie and her boyfriend Mason Billington. Good. So they went out one day for a walk while suddenly it started raining. So what happened next? Let's listen to the story. Okay, the young couple took shelter from the rain under a tree and were sitting together when the lightning struck. So both of them took shelter. You know what is shelter? Something that can protect them from the rain. So that's why they went under a tree and sat there together. While suddenly at that time the lightning struck. So what happened next? Let's listen to the story. Okay, so what happened next? Okay, let's reread together. Okay, the lightning hit them both and they lost consciousness. Do you know what is the meaning of lost consciousness? Okay, it means that both of them fainted. But after a while, okay, if you look at the story, then Mason woke up, as a hero of the story. He woke up and carried Sophie to the nearest road in order to get help. So it means that during that time, Sophie is still unconscious. Okay, what happened next? A car stopped and took them to the hospital. So it means that both of them went to the hospital. They were able to get help by the passerby who used that route at that time. So they were very lucky and fortunate to get helped during that incident. Okay, Sophie had sunburns on her chest and legs. She also had some damage to her eyes and ears, but fortunately, she quickly recovered. Okay, this is a big question here. This is such a miracle, right? It is indeed this MP3 player turns to be Sophie's life savior. So there is a question here. How did Sophie's MP3 player prevent her from having serious injuries? Okay, what really happened? Okay, now let's reread it together. Okay, when the accident happened, she wasn't listening to music on the player, but was wearing it on her neck. Okay, doctors believe that the lightning traveled through the wire of the MP3 player instead of through Sophie's body. Even though she was lucky this time, one thing's for sure. The next time there is a storm, she and her boyfriend won't sit underneath a tree. So the lesson learned from here, do not sit under a tree when there is a storm. Okay, now question time. Okay, this is to test your understanding about Sophie's first story. Okay, look at question number 1. What did Sophie's grandma give her? Okay, what is it? So, what is the answer for question number 1? Yes, correct. The answer is an MP3 player. It was given by her grandma on her birthday as a present. So this is what was her real life savior. Okay, now let's look at question number 2. Okay, number 2, where were Sophie and her friend when lightning struck? Okay, where were they? Okay, what is the answer for question number 2? Yes, they were under a tree. Okay, now look at question number 3. How did Sophie go to the hospital? Okay, the answer is by car. Okay, the boyfriend, right, carried Sophie to the nearest road and asked for help. So he was asking for any passerby who went on that route. And luckily, a car stopped by and sent them both to the nearest hospital. Okay, now look at the next question. Question number 4. Where was Sophie hurt? Okay, where was Sophie hurt? The answer is on her chest, legs, eyes, and ears. So now let's look at the next question. Okay, where was Sophie's MP3 player when the accident happened? Okay, the answer is, it is around her neck. Okay, this is the last question. Okay, what part of the MP3 player did the lightning go through? Okay, yes, the answer is the wire. Okay, so that because of the MP3 player, okay, it has the wire. So the lightning, it went through the wire. So that's why this MP3 player is considered as her life savior. So that's the end of our lesson for today. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And stay tuned with Teacher Huda channel. Until then, bye.